Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Thursday Night Football picks between the Panthers and the Texans. So let's get started. As always, if you guys enjoy the videos, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process. Check out the website. Links in the description if you want to join us. And without further ado, let's get started. So on this showdown, we're dealing with some injuries, especially on the Texans side. Tyrod Taylor is out. He's on IR. Shame because he was off to a great start. First week he looked amazing. He looked good against the Browns, and unfortunately he got hurt. And then now they have to play Davis Mills. So I think they only have one active quarterback. So if Mills happens to get banged up, I don't know who's going to take his place because Watson is inactive, as you would expect. But they're also dealing with injuries to their wide receivers. They are going to be without Amendola, who is not looking like he's going to play, and then Collins. They also placed him on IR with Tyrod Taylor. So for a team that is probably going to be down in this game, they're going to have to go throw to somebody. And guys that will benefit with these guys out are Chris Conley, who was already out there on the field for 90+% of snaps, just wasn't getting targeted very much. He played 55 snaps, one less snap than Brandon Cooks. Then you saw Roberts play 36% of snaps, but that was before Miller was active. Now he was inactive the first 2 weeks. He is now active, and he's only $1,000. So we should see Conley. I like him as a value play at only $1,600. And then you have Anthony Miller, who they brought in from the Bears. He is just $1,000. He'll play out of the slot. He was inactive, like I said, for the first 2 games, but he should get some good work this week. Thought they could ease him into action, but they just don't have very many options with the other 2 wide receivers injured. Only other guy that would get some work you would expect would be Roberts, who is $600 if you want to take a shot with him. And then Cooks is $10K. Personally, I will be looking to get up to the Panthers studs and then probably go with some of the cheaper Texans receivers like Miller and Conley. If Tyrod Taylor was playing this game, I'd feel a lot better about paying $10K for Brandon Cooks because Taylor takes some shots downfield. He definitely looks to Brandon Cooks' way a ton. But with Davis Mills, just not really feeling that he will have the same connection with Cooks, and they'll probably try to run the football and control the clock as much as they can. And I don't know if they'll take a ton of deep shots, but he was just 8 of 18. Threw 1 touchdown, but he also threw a pick. So definitely not as talented as Taylor. And then on the Panthers side, if you want to look at their wide receivers snap counts, we can also look at the Houston Texans running back situation because they rotate 4 guys, not 3 guys. 4 guys got at least 10 snaps. You saw Burkhead play 11, Ingram played 19, Lindsey played 14, and then David Johnson played 26. So after the first week where Mark Ingram really dominated the touches with 46%, last week it was David Johnson. Who knows who's it going to be this week? But looking at their price tags on this showdown slate, you have Johnson 54, Lindsey 58, and then Ingram is 66. So they are very expensive. You can probably take just pick between them if you wanted to. I think one at least can have a decent game, maybe 2. But personally, I like going with the cheaper guys because I definitely will be paying up for McCaffrey, paying up for Darnold, getting him with at least one or both of Anderson and DJ Moore. But looking at the Carolina situation, their stuff is pretty much clear. They're not dealing with a lot of injuries. They're basically going to be playing, mainly getting a lot of work for Moore and Anderson at the wide receiving position. They did see Brandon Zaltra and Marshall rotate a bit. Marshall still played a lot more snaps, but Zaltra had his first career touchdown. These 3 are going to be in 3 wide receiver sets. You can see these guys rotate in and out. And then on DraftKings, looking at their pricing, the difference between them at wide receiver, Brandon Zalstra is 46, and Marshall is 4K. So for a guy that's playing a lot more snaps, give me Marshall over him every day. And then obviously nobody's really taking work away from Christian McCaffrey, although he did leave for a brief moment in time as he was getting checked with a concussion, but he returned and looked like himself. So nothing too much to be worried about for McCaffrey. But on Carolina, you know exactly who you want to get. Darnold, McCaffrey, Moore, Anderson, probably throw in Marshall. Those are the top plays. For the value pieces, you could look to one of the tight ends, whether that be Thomas or whether that be Arnold. I believe Arnold's getting more work, but neither one is that appealing. besides like the wide receiver. Or actually, they played Thomas a lot more, but I think Arnold got some more routes run. He had 4 targets, 55 yards. Thomas had... He's pretty affordable. Maybe you can look to him, but he's not known to be a pass catcher. He just had 2 targets in there a lot for blocking. So I'd still probably lean to... In this situation, I'd probably lean to the Arnold, who will at least catch some passes, as we saw with Arizona last year. And that's basically it. The only guy that's cheaper than $1,000 that you can look to is probably like the $600 guy from the Texans, Roberts. And then for the kicking situation, I look to the Carolina kicker. I don't think Houston will score a ton of points. I'm not really looking at his kicker or their kicker very much. So looking at just some builds here, this slate is pretty clear compared to the Packers and Lions one, just because we had so many options. But this one is pretty clear, and the game script is pretty kind of clear to me. It was what I expect. I think the Panthers will win by double digits. The Panthers defense also in play this week. If you don't want to play like one of the 3 running backs on the Texans, just plug in the Panthers defense. But let's do one with McCaffrey at captain. Plug in Darnold. Robbie Anderson is way cheaper than Moore, so if you can't get to both of those guys, you can plug in Moore. But I think I can get to at least 4 or 5 Carolina guys, and that's what I want. If you go with $1,000 Miller, you plug in $1,600 Conley. It leaves you with $8,300 left, so you just miss out on getting to the quarterback, Mills. But you can go to the Panthers, and then maybe, you're going to miss out on just a little bit. So might have to flip-flop the captain situation here. Go Darnold at captain, or even probably go with you could go Robbie Anderson at captain. He's so cheap at 11.7. That'll allow you to do all of the studs, and then you get the 2 cheap Texans guys in here. So that's definitely something to look at. If you did want to play McCaffrey at captain, we'll see what we can do. You probably have to look to the one of the kickers on the Panthers, or maybe you can look to Marshall, who's only 6,000. Yeah, he's only 6,000 at captain. I probably don't want to play him at captain, but he would make a good flex option. Plug in Marshall, who is probably going to get 50% of the work again. Then you get more, and then you can probably upgrade. You can upgrade to, let's see, you have 5,500 there, so you could upgrade to David Johnson if you wanted to. You could upgrade to Arnold, or just be different and just leave money on the table, because at least you get to a couple of these guys on Texans if they do happen to move the ball, and I would expect them to be forced to throw a lot in the second half. So you have that going for you, and or you can upgrade to like one of the tight ends, whether that be Farrell Brown or Akins. They're going to have to play more. They both did play like 60% or 50% plus of snaps. Akins been not really doing much. Brown has at least some upside that he showed, so he would probably be my preferred option if you did want to not take a shot on like Conley. You can play Brown and then go back to Miller, something like that. Don't see how I will have any of the Texans guys at captain, except if you wanted to just do a complete punt and play one of these guys like Miller. But you don't need to on this slate because there's not that many studs that you need to get to. Like you have the 3 guys on the Panthers, and then Robbie Anderson's already cheap enough that you don't need to go that cheap at captain. So we'll do one with Darnold to see what we can do. Darnold, McCaffrey, Anderson. Maybe look to Marshall at only $4,000. You can go with the kicker, Gonzalez. Leaves you with $4,200 left. You're really not getting to any of these guys on the Texans that you want to get to. So let's just see if we plug in Conley, what kind of upgrades we have. It would be getting to the Panthers defense at 62, doing like a 5-1 stack like that. You don't have more in here, which kind of disappointing, but you get basically every single other top option on the Panthers. Then you get Conley, who's going to be out there on the field probably 90% of the snaps or more. So that's about it. Just looking at some final kind of options here. Do like just jamming in all of these Carolina guys, and then probably going with like Conley as the cheap Texans guy that I want. Him and Miller, I like both of those guys. But that's about it for the DraftKings side. Let's take a look at FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel, you have McCaffrey as your most expensive guy. He would be the captain play. Him and Darnold are probably the best options, and then maybe you can get lucky if Moore or Robbie Anderson happen to outscore McCaffrey, because it's the only way you're going to see one of those guys in the winning is if McCaffrey gets less points than those guys or Darnold gets less points than those guys, which I don't think is that likely. But I still like Moore. Obviously, I don't think I'll have Brandon Cooks just because he's expensive, and I'd rather get to the Panthers guys who will score a bunch more points. Anderson at 10K looks solid. The kickers are expensive. Like, I'd give me Anderson over Gonzalez. And Marshall is affordable at 85. You're not going to have Amendola to look to. You're not going to have, well, you could have Johnson if you wanted to pay 8K for him, but I like Conley at 7K as just a guy that, if they do have to throw a ton, will be out there. And that's basically it. Or actually you have Miller at 55. It's probably the better value play than Conley, just because he's cheaper. $1,500 can make a big difference. But let's see if we get to all these guys on Carolina. The top three still have a 67.50. So if you do plug in Miller, 55, you're left with 8,000. So you just miss out on getting to Marshall. That would have been nice. You're picking between like David Johnson or Lindsey. So maybe maybe getting to 2 Texans isn't the worst idea. Johnson will at least get some work, or you can just go with the 2 wide receivers and save some money like that. If you do want to save $4,000, you can go to Robbie Anderson here. See what that opens up. Gives us 12K. So if you wanted to get to the get to the quarterback, maybe he happens to get into the end zone or throws for a bunch of yards, that would happen as well. But Miller looks to be probably one of the best value plays on FanDuel for this showdown. So definitely have him in there. And that's about it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like button before you head out. And I'll see you all next time.